Versus the Bulls. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place rugby predictions and opinion. And this one finished 24-all. That's, I think, our sixth draw of the of the season, which is more than, well, pretty much ever, I think, in Super Rugby. It was a bit of a crazy game, and to go through all of the action with me, I have Michael Pullman. How are you doing, sir?
Good to be here, Paul. I'm doing well, but shocked at that result, to be honest.
Well, yes, and I did say at halftime that the Highlanders would not be happy with the score. I mean, it finished at the halftime score was 19-14, and the Highlanders had all of that first half, but really didn't put the points on the score. Didn't put the points on the score. Didn't put on the scoreboard. That's what I'm looking for. Didn't put the points on the board that they should have done. I mean, there was an awful lot of turnovers in that first half, weren't there?
Yeah, the Highlanders really came out of the sheds with a point to prove, as you would expect. This was a must-win game for both teams, but I just felt like the Highlanders were kind of their own worst enemy. You know, they were just a wee bit too frantic, if you can say such a thing.
No, absolutely, you can be. And one of the talking points before this game was, or at least from my point of view, was that the Highlanders needed 2 try bonus points wins to basically to really ensure they were going to make it into the finals. A draw here means that it's going to be mighty difficult to see them actually make it now, and we will have to. There's a lot of games to go, so there's lots of twists and turns yet to go through. But yeah, they would have been looking at a minimum of 4 points, preferably 5, to give them a realistic chance. And for a Bulls side that can't tour, they've been mighty impressive these last 4 games.
Yeah, they definitely have been. And I love this style of rugby, actually. I'm not only a big fan of Pollard, but they're a real typical brute South African team. So, and the draw against the Blues, they would have wanted, felt they probably should have won that. And they may look back at this and go, we left it 5-10 minutes too late.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was pretty clear from the start what the Highlanders were going to try and do. We saw Aaron Smith taking a tap and go penalty in pretty much the first few minutes, and when they interviewed the referee, not the referee, who am I talking about here? The coaches at the 20-minute mark and at half time, they were talking about playing at speed and territory. Now, I mean, lots of teams talk about wanting to play in the right areas of the pitch and all that, blah blah blah, but clearly that was the playing at pace and wanting to obviously play in the opposition half were what the Highlanders were looking at doing tonight.
Yeah, definitely. But I just felt, you make really good points, but I just felt that whether that was a message from the coach or not, but they didn't handle it well on the field. I mean, yep, they needed 2 try bonus points, but you've actually got to be clinical and win your game first and foremost. And they weren't really deserving winners for me, the Highlanders. So yeah,
I mean, 24 turnovers by the Highlanders, 20 by the Bulls, and when you consider that they basically cleaned their act up in the second half, that shows you what a helter-skelter first half this really was. So it was and in that first half, possession 66% towards the and 69% territory to the Highlanders. It shows you that they were dominant, and yet it took a break by Thompson at by just picking up at the ruck and running straight through the middle, running straight over the ruck. And then an Aaron Smith box kick over the top that was fumbled over the line for Josh McKay to get his first try. It was those kicks over, fumbles, people messing it up, and then scoring tries was to be a theme of the evening, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely was. And I sort of look at that as I think both sides were clearly under pressure, but mentally I think they were under pressure, and obviously we'll go through the tries, but the last one that the Highlanders got, for example, it really wasn't until the last part of that play, that they actually were quite clinical in what they did with the quick passing. So, yeah, definitely a theme for the night.
Yeah, and we then had the Bulls have a try disallowed, line out Maul after a penalty given up in the 22. And another theme for the evening was that the Bulls basically getting advantage from their own restarts. That the Highlanders exits this evening didn't really work. And now this one, the line out Maul was stopped, but Brits ran cross field, and then the player went over next to the posts. Called back for a knock on. For me, actually, this was Brits putting it back. It hits the rucking player's knee to go forwards, and then Brits put it back again. So to me, I don't think there really was a knock on because it was off the knee. But Angus Gardner and the TMO definitely thought it was that way.
Well, the TMO definitely thought it was that way. I mean, he was the one who said, "I'm going to show you a clear and obvious knock on," and I mean, yep, that's. It didn't look very clear and obvious to me, but at the same time, how many occasions have we seen something like that, go unnoticed? So yeah, I get a bit annoyed when I hear the TMO in the background saying, "I'm going to show you, something clear," which really means, "Nah, this is what happened. Make the call." So as soon as he said that, it was never going to be a try.
Yeah, no, you're right. The next try for the Highlanders came from a counter-attack from a loose kick. Lee made a good break, and then basically from the resultant, or one of the resultant phases, all of the Bulls players dropping the line. There was no one behind. Thompson kick over the top. Naholo picks up and scores. Russo comes back to score under the post after Naholo lets a ball bounce. Turnover, kicked forward again, lets the ball bounce, collects by Russo and scored. So we've got three tries there, all off kicks through basically.
Yeah, definitely, and I think both teams really, as you would expect, tried to use that kicking game. I don't think any team did it particularly well, and the tries that the Highlanders and the Bulls got from it were, a result of both handling errors, but also pure luck. So yeah.
Yep, there's definitely a lot of luck in this game. Thompson then was playing a blinder. We talked about his break he did earlier for the first try. Then also there were a lot of no-look passes out the back, hitting ground or being slightly fumbled in this game from both sides, to be honest. This was another one of those. Thompson cleared it up. Lovely break. And then puts McKay in for the try. That makes it 19-7. And you're thinking, okay, we're heading towards half-time. That's the kind of lead that the Highlanders would have expected, a two-score lead. But no. Ordendal makes a break. I think it was off the back of a scrum. And then Jenkins bashes over. And suddenly it's only 19-14 at half-time. And as I say, 2/3 of that half was Highlanders. And yet it wasn't 2/3 of the score.
No, definitely, and like I said on Twitter, the New Zealand sides tend to really stamp up the intensity 10 minutes before half time, and that usually flows on into the second half. But the Bulls, it was just very infectious. I think the helter skelter style of rugby, and obviously the handling errors too. But the Bulls just made chances for themselves, and they never really gave up in the fight, and being that far down, a lot of teams, I think, especially Turin, would do so. So credit to them. The Highlanders didn't help themselves, but the Bulls also, clawed their way in there and hung on in the end.
Yeah, they did. Nice moment in that first half. We saw Ben Smith running the tee, and his daughter ran on with him to run the tee. So nice to see. This is obviously Ben Smith wasn't playing; he was running the sideline. But his last game in Dunedin for the Highlanders, and he was there with his daughter. That's a really cool moment. If you want to see a photo of that? It's on my Twitter feed. So go and go check that out. The other thing from that first half that took me was that Josh Gardner really was the phrase he kept on saying was "play on." He really let his game flow when he could have blown his whistle a lot more, I feel.
I love Angus Gardner. I think he's the best referee in the world, to be honest. Just the way he communicates, second best actually to Nigel Owens. But yeah, I thought a game like this was a bit disappointing on that front too, because here's a guy who lets them play. He doesn't take any nonsense from the TMO, apart from one occasion tonight. And I think the players probably knew that coming in, and they tried to really do something, and it was quite messy at the end of the day. I sound quite negative, don't I?
No worries there. And the a big call there. I'd perhaps have, but yeah, he, as in being the top or the second best referee in the world. But no, he was playing very well. He did let lot flow, and the ball hit him at least twice, and he just said, "Play on. Hey, I'm not getting involved here. I'm not disrupted play enough to stop it." Whereas a lot of other referees would have just blown it as soon as the ball touched them and gone for a scrum. And the Bulls then dominated this second half, especially that first 10 minutes, but didn't come away with any points. And then actually it was the Highlanders that had the first opportunity to score. A kick through again. The player got wrapped up. A massive bodies go over the line, and Angus Gardner sees a blue hand, a blue jerseyed hand, put the ball down. I mean, this is not a Vata or anything like that. Put the ball down, but TMO correctly spotted that a Bull's hand got in there first. It was again luck and a lot of messiness in there.
Yeah, definitely. I've got nothing more to add, really. That's it's pretty much what happened. But on the Bulls, and I hate to think how many phases they went through in some of their positions tonight. It was just, and some of it was quite side to side as well. And that's a credit to the Highlanders defence,
Yep, and the Highlanders then did get a score from the resultant. Because the Bulls took it back and put that down. So from the resultant 5-minute scrum, the Highlanders spun the ball out wide, and Naholo touched it down in the corner for his second try. Naholo's last game in Dunedin for the Highlanders. Actually, we should name a few of them. So Ben Smith, Naholo, Jackson Hemapo, all their last games. Also Luke Whitelock's games. But a hat tip to him. 50 caps for the Highlanders tonight, and also add on the 50 for the Crusaders, and that was his 100th Super Rugby game. So big night. A lot of milestones being ticked off this evening.
Yeah, and even more coming next week with Liam Coltman. But yeah, Luke Whitelock is such a tireless. He probably doesn't get the press that he should, but yeah, man, he's just an absolute machine, and reminds me a wee bit of a young Richie McCaw. I don't quite know why, but I shouldn't have said that without thinking about it. Continue.
Who needs facts and reasons to get in the way, eh? Just need an opinion. Anyway, after that, a 10-point lead for the Highlanders. You're thinking that perhaps they could push on, but again, restart, can't exit, give a penalty, and Pollard knocks over an easy 3. With a 10-point gap, I was thinking, you know what, they're going to have to score. If they put over 3, they're going to have to score 3 times. Maybe they should have gone to the corner there, got 5, and then come back and back themselves to score another try. But hey, that was they were backing themselves to score another twice before the end of the game. But it wasn't to happen. Lots of pressure all the way through the end there. They got held up at least once, if not twice, with tries disallowed. And we've had something like 4 tries disallowed, or four try scoring opportunities that didn't complete. If you kind of get what I'm saying in this one, but finally they've ashed over with 5 minutes to go. Both sides, so that made it 24 all. Both sides trying to play all the way well past the 80 minutes, but with all those turnovers, we were never going to see them, either of the sides, be able to put together enough phases to score, were we?
No, definitely not. But with the Bulls, that final score, they would have. I think they had belief, right throughout. I mean, the decision to go for free with the earlier penalty in the half, that shows a team that's pretty clear on its structure and has some belief. Regardless of it being wide out in front, but yeah, the Highlanders when that last try. They would have backed themselves because they'd kept them out for a number of phases and held them up a few times, so that they will, they'll look at that one as a game that got away for sure.
72% possession, 72% territory in that second half. It really was all Bulls there. And how they didn't come away with they kind of came out of that with what I think it was just 10 points, a try and a penalty. Really was amazing, considering how much territory, how much possession, pressure they put on the Highlanders. So and we saw that with the fact that both sides were in the 60s percentage-wise tackling at half time. But the Highlanders recovered to be 83% tackling at the end, which means they probably didn't miss a tackle in that second half. Whereas 67% tackling by the Bulls, the coaches are going to have plenty to sort of talk to the players about come Monday morning.
One of the things the coaches won't need to talk about is the set piece rather. 100% both teams in scrums and lineouts.
Which changed because we had quite a few scrum penalties, and I'm just trying to bring up so I can put the stats on the screen for our for the audience. But the penalty count in the end was 5-all, a relatively clean game. As we said, Josh Gardner let an awful lot of things go this evening. He was happy for the to let play flow, so it was. Five penalties each, which sounds low considering how many penalties they did blow at scrum time.
Yeah, it does actually. There was a lot of whistle tonight. I'm just trying to look at some other stats here. A lot of offloads as well from the Highlanders and what do we got here? I continue, Paul. Sorry.
A little bit of an argument in the in the live chat between Simon and Arthur. Should we have a golden point or are draws part of the game? Now, Pro Rugby a couple of years ago decided to get rid of to say have no draws, and I think in an American competition that's what you'd kind of expect. I mean, they don't allow it in NFL and that kind of thing, or NBA. They go into extra time, don't they? So but I think over here we're used to draws, and it is part of the game in this part of the world. But I've got no objections to the USA changing things slightly for themselves. So moving on to the player stats then. I mentioned about that discipline, and unsurprisingly, Fayassi gave up 2 penalties and Johnson 1. So 3 of the penalties that the Highlanders gave up were by the props. As you can guess, that was around scrum time. Nyakane also gave up 1 at scrum time for the Bulls. So that's where the sort of nearly around about half the penalties in this game were actually from scrum time, which is kind of unusual. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's. But I mean, the scrum's an interesting one. I'm an advocate for less scrums in rugby. I think they take up too much time, and either have a scrum, and if there's an infringement, blow the whistle straight away, penalty, free kick, whatever. And we saw that tonight. So props going to get it wrong sometimes, but I guess the message I'm trying to say is, make a decision quickly and keep the game going, or turn the clock off.
No, you're right. Keeping the game going is an important part of this one. We've already talked about Thompson being a key player. in this game. 60 metres carrying with him. It didn't top the charts. Joshuani with 83, and I'm showing the screen now with our audience. Topped that with metres made, but everyone apart from Naholo, who only got through 5 carries, everyone in that back line for the Highlanders got through 10 carries or more. It shows that they were really, everyone was involved. This was a full 15-man game from the Highlanders.
Yep. As you would expect too, with not only the talent in that team, but also the talent in the coaches. They would have been very clear that every player has their role, and that's one of the things that I actually really like about Aaron Smith and to a later degree Wasaki Naholo. I thought Naholo got into some great positions tonight, and he was there to finish off tries. So it's really all he can do.
Yeah, and that's what you want. Your gone blank. Your wingers to let's finish off tries. Hemapo is going to be a big loss for them. 11 carries tonight. He got through a whole lot of work on attack and also defence. From the from the Bulls side, Russo running balls back, 71 metres top their run metres, but Staden and Steenkamp, Staden and Steinman, in the forwards both got through a lot of work carrying the ball as well, and they did use their big forwards well tonight. Did the Bulls doing that? On the defensive side of things, when it comes up, Tompkinson got through a lot of work with 11 tackles in the backs, but that man Luke Whitelock that you were talking about before about his engine, 21 tackles tonight, none missed. That's an impressive workload.
That is, and that that not only speaks to having a good night, but also the reason he had such a good night is because he picked the tackles. He didn't just throw himself into everything. He took some time to think about it, and he made the tackles count. And really, that's experience for you.
Yeah, Lenchis and Franklin also got through a bunch of work, 12 tackles each. And Simon, who I said got through lots of work on attack, also got through on defence with 10 tackles. A name that came back tonight that we've been waiting for all season, Liam Squire. You're wrinkling your face. How do you think his night went?
Pretty mediocre, really. I mean, considering I'm looking at the stats, 5 tackles, 5 missed tackles. Not too bad, but I think he would have had what we see on the screen might show differently, but I think he would have been telling himself, just take it slow, give myself work back in, and he did. Not much to say about it, and I think that's exactly how it should be at the moment. Same with Sam Kane, really.
I think he put himself about a bit. I think he was trying to get into the game, but as you say, a bit rusty and needs to get some game time back in his legs, definitely. From there, I guess the other point is, I mentioned earlier about that 68% tackle rate by the Bulls, and you can see it's really amongst their backs. We've already talked about the fact that the Highlanders' backs carried the ball a lot, but if you look at Pollard, Coetzee, Odendahl, Sage, Hendricks, Russo, they all missed 3 tackles each, which is a lot of tackle, which is a lot of tackles to miss when you consider 3 players did that on the Highlanders side. So yeah, definitely the backs of the Highlanders had a good time getting through their opponents tonight, but unfortunately they weren't clinical enough to then finish off those scores, especially in that first half.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the numbers too, what that tells you from a Bulls standpoint is that the backs were definitely trying to get themselves involved a bit more physically. Some of it might have been how the Highlanders ran at them, but I just wonder how energised the forwards were coming into this game in terms of the Bulls, because they have been on tour. They had a real brutal of a game last week in difficult conditions. So I definitely think it was a game plan for the Bulls backs to really try and take a bit of responsibility and get involved physically, because at the end of a late tour.
Right, well, the Australia game is about to kick off, so it's Reds versus Blues, I think, tonight. And
Yeah.
tomorrow. Battle of the colours there. I've noticed that 2 Cent Rugby looks like he's going to be doing a live show during the game, watching it. So head over to 2 Cent Rugby channel and go and check that out. That's what I'll be doing right after this. Michael, let people know where people can get hold of find you on YouTube.
You can find me at Real Michael Pullman on YouTube, and I am Real Mike Pullman on Twitter. We've also got the Accidental Offside Rugby podcast, which you can find on both of those feeds. So yeah, have a good one, and enjoy the battle of the forgottens and the unimportants.
Who is going to win the Purple Cup? So thank you everybody for watching. I'll be back tomorrow night with post-game reaction to the Crusaders versus the Rebels, and on Sunday to the Jaguares versus the Sharks. Don't forget to subscribe up there if you want the recording. Down there is a link to patreon.com, how you can become a supporter of the channel for as little as $1 a month to get hold of exclusive content. And over there are 2 videos that the YouTube algorithm here says you'll enjoy. Another place that link to support the channel is down below in the notes. So go check that out, please. And as I say, let's go and watch some more Super Rugby.